It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Sarah, for inviting us to participate in such a wonderful and necessary event. So I'm here to talk to you a bit about elevating the USDA Forest Service, what we do, to a broader audience. But first, I'd like to take you on a journey of who I am and why this work is so very important to me. I'm from Arkansas. That's where I'm from. Arkansas? Okay, so Arkansas is, when you say, hey, I'm in Schindler, I'm from Arkansas, people are like, ooh. To go to that place. And I'm here to tell you that yes, we do wear shoes. And it is a wonderful place. And so I was born, bred, fed, raised in Arkansas. And these were my influences. The next couple slides were my influences, like John Deere. I come from an agricultural background. My lineage and roots link to the sharecropping and agricultural aspects of the South. And so all of that inclusive stuff that I'm going to be hitting on a little later. So you see the John Deere hat. It's really pink, but you can't see it. Here is the state bird, the mosquito. Arkansas is definitely a wonderful place to live, but these were influences. I thought I'd just bring a laugh with the state bird, the mosquito there, and then something that we have in all of the schools as an alternative to milk is sweet tea. So that certainly influenced me in huge ways, because I couldn't get that out here when I moved from Arkansas to Oregon. Just a point. About my roots. Okay, so on the left here is my maternal great-grandfather and grandmother. And on the left, and then on the right is my maternal grandmother and grandfather. Arkansas roots, definitely a farming family that raised soybeans and sharecropped with other types of vegetables. They sold, they raised chickens, they sold those, they slopped, we call it slopping hogs. We raised hogs, lots and lots of agricultural influences in my life. So I thank them for just their wonderful example of hard work ethic and definitely providing a lot of discipline along the lines of what it means to really work hard and see the outcomes of that hard work. I was affirmed as a child quite a bit. I was told to be proud of my blackness, I was told to definitely stand up, to have a voice, to not interrupt conversation when grown-ups are talking. I was certainly given correction when I needed it. I was affirmed. I was given lots of love. And I was also told stories and wonderful stories and some not so wonderful stories about my family roots. Fear, when I heard those stories. Fear around racism, some of the things that happened to my grandparents and my parents and some of my distant relatives about the history of working in the cotton fields and being ostracized by white folks, quote unquote, in the South, and especially in Forest City, Arkansas, where my family was born and raised and homestead. With the fear, we were also told that there was opportunity to move away from some of those things that were not looked upon as being progressive. We were told that we had a responsibility as children to really take our education seriously and to consider careers in education and in law and in engineering, but no one mentioned natural resources. Because in my family, when you talk about the woods were a bad place. Woods were scary. Bad things can happen in the woods, given the history of my family and in the families of those that I know. In Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, where all my bloodline, Texas, runs through. So some of those stories and those narratives, learning at the feet of my grandmothers, that it was my responsibility to really take it upon myself to stay focused and to be determined to obtain my education, to move me from the work that they had known as domestics and as sharecroppers and into a more progressive line that could lead me to a career that was more promising. So they talked about education and a career. And by the age of 6 or 7, most of my cousins knew what university they were going to. Because my grandparents did not have a high school education. My great-grandparents did not graduate from high school, but my paternal grandparents, my grandfather was an 8th grade dropout, and my grandmother was a 6th grade dropout. And they had 12 children. And each of them, with the exception of one, are college graduates. So this is the story and the responsibility that was poured into me as a child. And they would always say, it's out there, Chandra, just go get it. And so when I told them that I was moving to Oregon, they were like, wait a minute. You don't have to go that far to go get it, honey. It'll stay right here. And I said, no, that little bubble above that woman's head, I got it. I got the business from my family, from my friends. Are you crazy? And you're going to ride a horse with the Forest Service? I said, I didn't mention a horse, but yes, I'm going to work for the Forest Service. And so that stereotypical concept around why do you want to work for the Forest Service? What is so interesting about the Forest Service? And what is drawing you to the USDA Forest Service? So many things. So yes, they thought I was crazy. And yes, they still think I'm riding a horse around the forest. So with all of that affirmation and love and understanding that I received and the embrace around the creativity that is just makes up who Chandra is, all of those things. I was curious, I was adventurous. I wanted to really prove myself. And in Oregon, there hadn't been a flag planted by my family. I had interned in St. Louis, I had interned in Chicago. I'd go and visit relatives to do snow cone stand type jobs when I was a teenager and other places. And that wasn't really adventurous. I mean, it was okay, but I still had family in my face. And so I wanted to do something a little bit different. And so the USDA Forest Service embraced me. They embraced the things that I brought to the table. They embraced my difference. Because trust me, when I landed in Medford, Oregon, I was the only chip in that cookie. In 1990. So moving on into the work that we are doing to really expand our reach to broader audiences, I can tell you that our motto, caring for the land and serving people, that just doesn't stop with one group of people. We are talking about serving all people. That means we are serving the haves and the what? The have-nots. That's right. This is access for all people. Making it known to everyone that National Forest lands belong to you. You may not own a car, you may not own a home, you may not have a place to really sleep at night. but know that national forest lands belong to you. And this is pretty much the gospel according to how we operate regarding our strategic plan from FY15 through 2020. Sustain our nation's grasslands and forests, meaning for future generations. We need to continue this work in influencing the next generation. And to deliver benefits to the public, that means to all people. That means to the haves and to the have-nots. So the primary objectives behind why we think it's important to deliver these benefits to the public, to all people, so they can have all access to our services, activities, and programs, is that we are elevating diversity. I'm not going to go through every bullet, but you can kind of see the snapshot here. We are really expanding our reach to non-traditional partners. Yes, we have worked with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Yes, we have worked with the Nature Conservancy. Yes, we are working with those partners, but now we're starting to take a look at other organizations that are serving the demographics that we do need to reach. In the Portland, Vancouver corridor, as well as throughout Oregon and Washington. So we are creating some strategic communication tools that are really helping us do that, so that these publics, these unassuming citizens, know that we are here. So we are really definitely lauding the message that this land is all yours. And we are reaching those underserved, multilingual, multicultural communities. And we are here to also reach them because we're looking at the next transition, the next incoming generation, to impact them and to influence them enough to consider us as an employer of choice. Plus their future voters too. Right? So what is a broader audience? I think I explained that just a little bit, but those communities that are unaware that we're here, those communities that do not know that they have all access, the have-nots that are pretty much worried about, the day-to-day meal and all of those things those necessities that they need to think about. We are here to definitely meet their need of understanding of what is available to them, no matter their socioeconomic background, no matter their ethnic background, no matter their language barrier. We are really trying to make it accessible for those audiences. And this goes on to talk about how we are building on those partnerships, existing ones, and taking a deeper dive into some new partnerships. And we have made it a focus, not to just, one and done transactions, but we are trying to transform, taking that transformation angle over transactions in our work. So we're elevating the shield where it has not been. So when I walk in a room, people are like, who is that? And I'm like, hey, I'm with the USDA Forest Service, and this is how we are showing up with these communities. Just by listening, sitting down and being very real and open, and letting them know what we have, and they are kind of choosing from the suite of things that they are most interested in, and we move on from there. Partnering through translation services and through other communiques, especially through social media platforms. And I'm going to go through a couple of organizations that we're working with that are really making a difference to the demographics that they're serving. And we are partnering in this service as well. So the Skinner Foundation is a nonprofit arm of the Skinner News Group, which is a newspaper that reaches over 80,000 now, since this last slide was produced, 80,000 businesses and households that are mostly African American, Asian, and Latino. And that particular paper is circulated on social media platforms as well as in publication in Portland and Seattle. And so we definitely are very excited to be a sponsor, an annual sponsor of the MLK breakfast that they sponsor each year to award students scholarships to complete and to continue their education, especially those students that are really focused on the STEM disciplines like science, technology, engineering, math, and other business functions. Forestry is included in that. So this year, we awarded through the Scanner Foundation two $1,500 scholarships, something that has not been traditionally done in the USDA Forest Service. And so we are definitely making great strides with that. Moving on, these are our two recipients, so proud of them. Woo, woo. Okay, so working with Hispanic Communications Network and the Slavic Family Media Network, they reach wide variety up into the hundreds of thousands of listeners and watchers on their social media platforms, and in their written publications and on the radio waves. So we are really fortunate to have them in our pocket for partnering. Previous campaigns, we focus on wildfire campaigns when we work with these groups, and some of our future partners we're working with outdoor recreation and some of the things that compel them to really take advantage of the outdoors. We are working with the YWCA, yay! They champion social justice, environmental justice, and things along those lines. And then we are starting up a new partnership this year with the Oregon Community Health Workers Association. This is a picture of the migrant African workers that we are now engaging with in a new way. So, reflections for practitioners in the room. We're all family, so I have a couple of words to part with. This work isn't easy, y'all. This is something that you will certainly grow weary. You have to have a good old strong backbone to delve deeper into this work. And so I would just encourage you to acknowledge, as Brenda said, the past, and to do that deeper dive of understanding and learning that is required in this work. This has always been a movement. It's always been a movement. So we recommend that you don't slow it down with all your stuff. All right. So we just want you to be encouraged to keep others moving along too in this work, and keep it moving by any means necessary. Keep it real at all times. Throw it out in the room. Be transparent. Remember that what's from the heart reaches the heart, and meet people where they are. Right? Keep it real. Meet people where they are, and be honest about your ignorance. Be honest about it. Just like, hey, I didn't know. There's nothing you're going to lose by admitting that. And discover your own story. I would encourage you to discover your own story and your path. Why am I doing this? What is the real reason behind this hard work for me? Is this hard work for me? For me, it is. But discover your own story about this work, and then share that with others. And so with that, I would just encourage you to read the poem by Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. It is very inspirational, and I know that in this work, and with all of the wonderful talent in this room, and with the energy that we have, and we're setting this forward after this week, that we will continue to rise together. Thank you.